Welcome to Cinemax Movie Recaps. Today we're reviewing Escape Room: Tournament of Champions. The film opens with a recap of the last movie, where 6 strangers were lured to a seemingly harmless escape room run by a mysterious organization called Minus. Sole survivor Zoe, Taylor Russell, and Ben, Logan Miller, escaped and killed the game master before planning to expose Minus entirely after learning their base of operations is in Manhattan. We then see a scene taking place in 2003, where a girl and her mother come home. The girl wants to tell her father about what they did today, but the mother says that he is busy with work and that the girl should go to her room. The mother then goes to her husband's study, where we see that he is designing the black puzzle box that Minus used to send the invitation vouchers in the previous movie. The woman is angry about her husband, but he says to give him 1 hour to finish his work before talking about the issue. The woman decides to swim and goes to the sauna while she waits, but she gets trapped in there as the temperature keeps rising. It's apparently an escape room like the one Minus makes, with clues and everything. Unfortunately, the woman dies, and we can assume that her husband, Henry, is the one who designed the sauna escape room. The next scene is a scene that continues from the previous movie. Apparently, Henry is the mysterious guy who is behind Minus. We also see that his daughter, Claire, is now grown up and is kept in a prison that looks like a bedroom. She is tasked to design the Minus escape rooms, but she gets upset at her father for wanting to kill Zoe so bad. Claire says that she relates to Zoe probably because they both had lost their mothers. We move on to Zoe and Ben, who are waiting for their plane in the airport. Ben suggests that they should just abandon the search for Minus, but Zoe says she has to do this because Minus is still out there killing people. Ben agrees and they walk towards the boarding gate when suddenly Zoe gets a panic attack from flashbacks of her plane crash in Vietnam. She then runs away from the gate, and finally, the two decide to rent a car to drive to Manhattan. They stop at a motel to rest for the night, but while Zoe is in the bathroom, the motel starts to crumble and the walls start pushing in together, making the room smaller and trapping Ben. We then see Ben waking up being very panicked. Apparently, it was all just a nightmare. The two make it to Manhattan and arrive at an empty alley where Zoe thinks the Minus headquarters is. The street was supposedly busy days earlier based on their coordinates. They then come across a junkie who steals Zoe's mother's necklace, leading her and Ben to chase the man into the subway. They lose the junkie when they are trapped in a subway car. Zoe starts to hear weird sounds from the train car, and soon, she and Ben find that their car has uncoupled from the rest of the train, and took a turn to an unused tunnel on the subway line before being stopped at the end of the tunnel. They are trapped with 4 other strangers: Rachel, Holland Roden, Brianna, India Moore, Nate, Thomas Cockrell, and Theo, Carlito Olivero. While they are trying to recuperate, a voice from the speakers gives a weird announcement that sounds like a clue, and the group soon realizes this is another Minus game. Apparently, they are all survivors from past Minus games, making this a tournament of champions. The metal in the car is highly electrified, and the group must play the game to get out. They find a handle in an unowned bag that opens the conductor's chamber. There, they find an arcade token that needs 9 coins. From the riddle, they figure out that they can find the coins by pulling the right handles correlated to a letter. The more letters they find, the more electrified the car becomes. Theo is electrocuted to death when he accidentally gets stuck to a bar. Zoe figures out that the message is welcome back and helps the group escape through a hatch in the car. The group ends up in an elevator where they introduce themselves and tell each other about their previous games with Minus. Brianna was trapped with other influencers, while Nate was a former priest trapped with other religious figures in a test of their faith. The group ends up in an underground bank where random checkerboard tiles are rigged to set off laser grids, leaving the group with only 10 minutes to make it to the exit safely. They solve various riddles to help them cross over safely, up to the point where they guide Nate through the tiles using numbers from the world clocks. They are stuck on the next clue, but Nate tries to be a hero and guesses which tiles are safe with only his faith. He succeeds, but after a few tiles, he chooses the wrong one and activates the lasers, causing him to go unconscious. After Nate falls unconscious, the group unlocks the safe that contains a map for the safe tiles and Zoe guides them to safety. They carry Nate to the next room and Zoe follows suit just seconds before the exit shuts and the lasers take over the whole room. The group ends up on a beach simulation where they find a camera that leads to their next clue. Soon, the sand starts swallowing things up, forcing the group to act fast to find the next exit. After finding the anchor they needed from the first clue, Rachel is sucked under the sand, so Nate grabs a life buoy and rope to dive underneath and pull her out. While Rachel resurfaces and is taken to safety, the rope snaps, trapping Nate in the sand and killing him. The group finds an opening through a fridge in the nearby crab shack to the next room. They trigger another clue up in the lighthouse and Zoe climbs there, finding another clue which leads to Ben finding the plug for the fridge on one of the mannequin's eyes. Meanwhile, on top of the lighthouse, Zoe finds an alternate exit through a hole in the moon replica. Not sure which exit would be the right one, Brianna takes the one through the fridge while Rachel and Ben follow Zoe. Unfortunately, the ladder breaks while Ben climbs it, and he falls into the sea of sand. Zoe and Rachel make it through the lighthouse door and get out. As they exit, Zoe blames herself for Ben's apparent death. Rachel consoles her, reminding her that no matter what happens, Minus will probably still find the both of them. Rachel and then reveals to Zoe that she has a condition where she cannot feel physical pain or any kind of sensation, so Minus probably picked very dangerous games for her. They then hear noises that seem to come from the streets, leading them through a manhole that apparently takes them back to downtown Manhattan. However, Brianna emerges and reveals they are still trapped in the game. The cityscape is just another illusion. Rachel finds burns on Brianna's back. She reveals that in this room, after a certain amount of time passes, it will start to rain acid until the timer resets again. The ladies run for cover as they try to find the clues to their survival. They take shelter under a canopy, in a phone booth, and under an umbrella that provides them with brief protection until a door to the cab in the middle of the room opens. Zoe makes it in, but when Brianna and Rachel tries to get in from the phone booth, the door shuts and either of them can open it. Brianna and Rachel decides to give up as they won't make it in time, and the acid rain pours down on them and burns them to death. We see behind the scene of the escape rooms, one of Minus's employees says to Claire's father that someone has breached into the game and taken Zoe. We can see that Zoe is taken to the glass panel that overlooks Claire's bedroom by her bodyguard. She meets Claire through the glass, who says that she needs Zoe's help to get her out of her room and stop her father's plans. Zoe is reluctant because she doesn't trust Claire, especially after figuring out that Claire is the one who designed all of the escape rooms, but Claire manages to earn her trust by showing her that Ben is actually alive because Chloe saved her from under the sand. Unfortunately, as the girls talk, Ben gets kidnapped by Henry's men and is put in the sauna escape room where Claire's mother had died in years ago. Zoe panics, but Claire says that she can override the escape room systems if she can access Henry's computer in his study, so they start to figure out the puzzle that can open Claire's room. They successfully opened her room, but Claire's bodyguard comes in wounded before Henry comes after him, pointing his gun at Claire and choking her. The bodyguard then shoots Henry on the shoulder and Claire locks him up in her room before hurrying to save Ben. Claire gives her the keys to the Minus building where Ben is and tells her that she will be calling the police to report Minus and their crimes. We see the police at the Minus building, arresting the Minus employees that was trapped by Claire. Ben is going to be taken to a hospital on an ambulance, but before he leaves, he gives Zoe her mother's compass that was stolen by the junkie earlier, saying that Claire's bodyguard gave it to him. We move back to Claire, who is talking to her father about how he and her mother was scared of her and her capabilities. It turns out that the person who killed Claire's mother and is behind all the puzzle design is Claire herself. She drains the oxygen from her room before implying that she's planning to do something worse than Minus. That's the end of the movie. Subscribe for more videos like this, turn on notifications and leave a like to help our channel out. Thanks for watching and see you next time.